Thank you. Okay. Yes, let's record that. We're going to split them like presentation by presentation and share with the group. So I really appreciate Delegate Chang has been here, always helping us. He's the main driver for this internship. So, and Young Smith and from LoKA, your support has been so helpful to get all the students coming together. So as we discussed last time, we're going group by group. Since I don't see Benjamin Lee from the first group, so we're going to skip for the moment. We'll come back. We're going to the second group with Minjin Ko. I think I saw you here, and Clara Kim, Joshua Cho, and Alexander Pop. How about it? Yeah. You can, any way you want to do it. I have a timer on my side. I always want to make sure when people do presentation, right? The consensus to your time. Everyone have 10 minutes after your presentation. Either myself or Delegate Chang or any other people can ask questions.
Sir?
Yeah,
Do we have to turn our cameras during our presentation?
I think that's yes, right?
Okay. How are we supposed to share our presentation slides?
You can share screen, right? Have you shared that before?
Yeah, but yeah, I'll do that. Can everyone look at the screen right now?
Yeah, we can share a screen. Yeah, great. You can start.
My camera is on the side, so
I see your face. Yeah.
yeah.
Can you bring your team like together, right?
So hi everyone. We are group 2, and we investigated about tax credit bills. So my bill was House Bill 66. It's about tax credits on people who are in various conditions. The first scenario is school employees who are school employees who have houses inside the public school system district. And the other scenario is owners who made health and safety improvements after July 1st, 2023. The last one is participants in local housing programs. The bill aims to support educators, enhance community safety, and improve housing issues. However, there is a risk that these incentives will reduce local property tax revenue by a lot of amounts, which could put a strain on the state budget. The reason that I chose this bill, and reason why I found this bill interesting, is because it attempts to solve various problems in our community and make our community better, and using tax credit bills. I think it's important because it addresses a number of issues to improve our community, making Maryland a more desirable and safer place to live. While there is potential loss of revenue, I believe that this is an important tool for us in long term, because I think the long-term benefit of this tax credit bill will be better for our community.
Is it Joshua here? Joshua Cho?
Oh, sorry, I was speaking, but my mic was muted. Sorry. All right, I'll restart. Hello, my name is Joshua Cho, and I've chosen House Bill 63. And in summarization, what this tax credit bill does, it alters the property tax to eligible disabled veterans. And the criteria is that veterans that were disabled during service and not disabled by misconduct, which is by doing something other than service, are eligible for this bill. And depending on the disability, such as blindness or maybe deafness, the veteran's property tax is either lessened or completely removed, which of course benefits them. And to the next slide, please. And the reason why I chose this tax credit bill is because it helps disabled veterans pay for their homes. And this is appropriate as they fought for their home country and sacrificed their well-being for it. In addition, it makes up for the pay that they would have had, but is either harder to get, lessened, or completely gone from when they were respectively more able-bodied and working as a veteran. It's likely that they would have worked more or been able to work longer before they were disabled. Therefore, they should be treated and benefited in that manner. Thank you.
Okay, hi, my name is Claire and I chose House Bill 287. This bill changes the eligibility criteria for the renter's property tax relief. Through this bill, the eligibility criteria goes from an income-based calculation to an asset-based calculation, which means that instead of just looking at the person's income to determine if this person is eligible, the State Department of Assessment and Taxation now looks at the entire net worth or assets the renter has as a whole. But it is important to note that this excludes the cash value of retirement savings and individual accounts as an asset. The bill also provides property tax relief up to $1,000 eligible for those whose combined net worth doesn't exceed $200,000. And some of the benefits of this bill is that it is more fair in distributing property tax relief among eligible renters because under an asset-based calculation, it shows the broader picture of an individual financial situation, making it easier to distribute property tax credits to renters who genuinely need it. And another positive point of the House bill is that implementing this bill does not really cost a lot of money, so it's very efficient in helping out many more people. I chose House Bill 287 as my individual report because I thought this topic was interesting. Before this assignment, I didn't know much about the subject of tax credits and property taxes in general, but after researching about this topic led me to a deeper understanding in this subject. In addition, this topic is really important to know about because it applies to many people living in Maryland and impacts them in a positive way. The House Bill 287 provides tax credit relief to many renters who might come from a lower income background and can provide less financial burden on them.
Hi, I'm Alex. I did House Bill 823, which is also known as the Melanie Nicole Diaz Fire Safety Act. This bill authorizes the mayor or government body of a certain county to grant property tax credit by law to improve fire safety in high-rise buildings. Not only that, but also establishes work groups under the jurisdiction of state police to develop more safety practices. The reason why I chose this is because how important it plays in our daily life. It addresses the importance of having fire systems within buildings, ensuring the safety of daily people in their daily lives. And they do this in multiple ways. While it takes more funding in order for all high-rise buildings to meet these requirements, I'd say it's important for the long run, because it'll protect the people as well as the high-rise buildings, making Maryland a more safer place to live.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Great job. You put everything in a very clear way and very organized well. You can close your presentation.
Thank you.
Then we'll bring back the, yeah. So I think your group did a great job, organized pretty well. Everyone really keep aligned with your bill, right? So Delegate Chang, do you have any questions?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for the time that you're allocating for this evening. Really great presentation by the first group. I think that it's important that as presentations are provided, that they be done in a very professional way, and the presentation was very professional. I do actually want to go back to the first slide, which kind of threw me off, is that if we could pull the first slide up for the presentation. And I was expecting there's just a little clarification. And I knew that as we went through the process that it was talking about tax credits, but I think on the first screen, I think it was important to kind of make a clarification there. We could go back to the first screen of that presentation. Okay, the very first slide.
Yep. Oh,
I know it's an introduction, but I think that should there be any revisions to that?
Sorry, that must have been a typo. We meant tax credit bills instead of tax credit bills.
oh, yeah, my bad.
That's okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I just think that it's really good great job again, very great job. Really do appreciate the presentation. I think that, it's important for us to pay attention to all the details. And that, when we're all professionals here on this Zoom and we all have a lot of professional opportunities ahead of us. And I think that, as we go through, just to make sure that we have it as best product, because the product that we are showcasing, it really is a reflection on all of us. I think that's important for that to take place. And that was a small detail. I think it's important for all of us to pay attention to details. And that really does leave a lasting impression. But again, great presentation. I do, Delegate Chow, if I may ask a question to everyone who is on the Zoom.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
As the team presented during this evening's presentation about the tax credits and how the revenues are affected by the credits, I wonder if, by a show of hands, if everyone on the Zoom call could, share if they've participated in the tax-free week with regards to shopping for back-to-school items. I guess if anybody could raise their hand if they're familiar with the tax-free week. Okay. Well, I think that's something for us as a state. We've got to continue to do better. Just as a public service announcement, that starting this Sunday of this week, earlier this week until Saturday of this week, that it's sales tax-free week, in that any items that are clothing or shoes that are purchased under $100, they're exempt from sales tax. And then also book bags are also exempt from sales tax that are $40 and under. If they're over $40, then those additional dollars over to 40 get taxed. But that's an example there of how, and I really do appreciate this presentation, how it does really affect our everyday lives, and that there is a loss of revenue for the state. It's projected to be about $7 million loss of revenue for this week with that sales tax exemption for those items. But the thought is to hopefully stimulate the economy, whether folks going to the mall or, different purchases at the retail stores. And I think this is actually really a teachable moment for us on the state level, is that it looks like that the participants on this call were not familiar with that. I think that perhaps we need to continue to do more in that outreach. But I would say that now that you know, definitely please take advantage of that opportunity.
Delegate Chang, thank you very much for sharing that. I think probably most students are aware of this. Like whenever a new school year started, their parents take them to purchase school supply, right? School supplies, that part of them tax exempt during the next three weeks. They're probably not aware of it, but it's probably they take advantage, right?
Well, thank you, Delegate Chang. I didn't realize, because when we mentioned $40, $100 you spent, you don't pay taxes. I didn't realize, when this little things top to lost revenue of $7 million in Maryland, that's a lot. But I wonder how the state make up for that loss.
I think it's a part of one of the philosophies is to hopefully stimulate the economy in that, with regards to, there might be purchase that will be exempt from the sales tax, but hopefully they'll shop for other items that are not under that category, and also relate to, when shoppers are at the mall or at the store, they'll shop for different products, but then they'll also go out to eat or maybe get some entertainment. So these are different other ways to stimulate the economy. And so though we have a loss of 7 million in one bucket, there may be an increase in the other bucket with regards to other types of products that are purchased. I mean, for example, like, if we go to Lotte or H Mart or other grocery stores, you might see something that's like 99 cents and you wonder, well, how can they sell it for 99 cents? But then as the shoppers go through the grocery store, there's other items that they'll be attracted to that will help make up for that loss there or potential. It's called a loss leader. So they're leading off with a product, but then other products or services will make up for that loss that occurred at the beginning.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's, so these are different tools, and these are different financial policies, and also ways that, you know, as public policy decision makers and fiscal leaders, we try to help the economy, but also getting down to the individual buyer, the students, the parents. It does help them though. That way, you know, they can, you know, go to the store and purchase new clothes or new shoes and be able to start the school year off, you know, on a, you know, in a feel good way too. So it does help in a lot of different ways, but I really wanted to be able to share that. But yeah, definitely, we still have until Saturday. I would definitely encourage everyone on this call that if you got to get a new pair of shoes, some new clothing, definitely take advantage of the tax-free week on the sales tax of those items.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thanks, Tom. So now go back to the presentation. Since time is limited, I'm going to just ask one question to one bill. For Alex, for your group, for your bill, right? We talk about safety matters. So like fire extinguisher, right? So I ask you a question: why we're not like for this bill, they create a works group to study this issue. Why not really mandate like fire extinguishers for all the high-rising buildings? When you read the bill, when you read the analysis, how do you feel about that? Why the lawmaker take this approach?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question one more time?
So for your bill, right, it's about fire safety, right? So the bill talk about a mandate or the high-rise building have a, like to install fire extinguishers, but that bill really didn't go through. They made a lot of modification. Now they're creating a work group to study this issue. Why do you think we're taking that way?
Could you repeat the last part one more time? I can't quite hear. Sorry.
So why did they want to create a work group instead mandate that install fire extinguisher on all high-rise buildings?
Well, I feel that work groups are really important because they develop the safety procedures that people use in high-rise buildings. People can't expect just to have technology to do all the work. People also need to know what to do in an event of an emergency. So creating these work groups with the jurisdiction of the police force will ultimately help guide people on what to do in case of in like an emergency. An example of this is Melanie, hold on, her name was Melanie Diaz. She's a good example of this. The bill was named after her because she went in to rescue two of her dogs, but ultimately passed away to smoke inhalation. So this could have been avoided with proper procedures, and if people knew what to do in an event of emergency. She went in, but I wouldn't say fully prepared, so she sadly, unfortunately, passed away. With these work groups, people can learn how to deal with these emergencies better and ultimately save more lives and people.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate your answer. So I'm not going to ask questions for the other three bills, but I really think you guys did a great job both understanding what's happening in the bill and what the purpose of the bill, and summarize them pretty well. I would say thank you very much. And this concludes the presentation on this group. We're moving to the next group. And Maria Yu, Tyler Kim, Joshua Bang, Hannah Park. Yeah, go ahead, Maria. You're on mute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Oh, So we're Group 4, and we were tasked with looking at the bills in the state government section of the 90-day report, which is also just Part C. So we can just get right started with Joshua.
My bill was Senate Bill 0524, and it's the committee's chairs and vice chairs gender neutral terminology. So let's get to it. Senate Bill 524, it primarily updates gender specific titles in the General Assembly to gender neutral terms for inclusivity. And it has minimal fiscal impact as it primarily involves updating language in legislative documents and titles. And it updates then gender neutral terms to gender neutral ones to, I meant to promote inclusivity and equality in the General Assembly. And the bill basically, for sure, it supports employees in the legislative area by giving them proper gender neutral terms. And this could help people who work in the legislative, like who wouldn't be comfortable with gender specific titles.
This next bill is Tyler Kim's, but he wasn't able to make it today due to some extenuating circumstances.
Move your slide. Who's control the screen?
Oh, sorry, I don't know why my screen isn't sharing. Can you guys see this HB 630?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is HB 630, which is Tyler Kim's bill. So his was called the State Retirement and Pension System Service Credit Bill. And what it is basically it strives to improve the state's retirement and pension systems by removing any restrictions on transferred service credits and extending the eligibility for those who were previously ineligible. And the reason we need it is to uphold a sense of fairness and justice for employees when receiving retirement benefits. And so it's especially important for those who wish to transfer between retirement plans to ensure financial security. The fiscal impacts of this bill really center around all the potential savings by keeping more experienced employees in their positions for longer because they won't have to retire as quickly, and also reducing the chances of legal issues related to retirement benefits. And then finally, the laws will support employees who switch jobs frequently and give equal treatment for those who served.
I chose the House Bill 0981, which was targeted towards the principal departments, and it's titled Individuals with Limited English Proficiency, and it addresses access to public services. So this bill requires the principal departments of the executive branch to take whatever means necessary to provide in-person oral services and translate vital documents into languages spoken by at least 3% of the population served by that local office. And so this bill breaks down linguistic barriers by ensuring that non-English speakers can fully participate in and benefit from public programs. Additionally, it addresses the burden placed on immigrant children to translate legal documents for their parents, as that is oftentimes a problem. For the fiscal impact, as it is addressed to some principal departments, it varies among these agencies. And so, for example, the Maryland Department of Emergency Management's general fund increased approximately $100,000 in the fiscal year of 2025. And in general, the fund expenditures increased by approximately $100,000 in the fiscal year of 2025, and in the coming years, $200,000. Ultimately, this bill aims to bridge linguistic gaps and empowers the communities situated in Maryland, and it allows everyone in the community to participate.
Okay, finally, this is the bill that I chose, House Bill 102, and it's titled Office of the Attorney General, Investigative Authority, and Healthcare Fraud. So basically what it allows for is it streamlines the process for the Attorney General's office to look into fraudulent healthcare practices, especially independently, and take legal action against companies or the people involved. The more specific action that it is now allowed to do is issue subpoenas. And so the reason why we need it is because fraud, especially healthcare fraud, is a problem that has been plaguing Maryland for many years now, and we really do need a system to make it more efficacious. And so, because in the past, healthcare fraud investigations were conducted in a very ineffective and bureaucratic manner. In other words, basically, the Attorney General's office had to go through multiple offices, coordinate with multiple agencies, just to do the one thing of getting a healthcare fraud actually investigated. And so now it can just easily issue its subpoena on its own, and that allows it to make the system go a lot quicker and also make it more efficient. And in the end, this also just represents a larger movement to improve accountability and openness in the healthcare system. Because year by year, due to our lack of transparency, we see a lot of overbilling, the provision of unnecessary services, and intentionally misdiagnosis of patients in exchange for higher reimbursements. So in terms of the fiscal impact on the actual $63.1 billion budget that Maryland has, there is no impact on that, just because it is now just granting a power. It's not really allocating money towards anything. But what it does really help do is save millions of dollars that are stolen from the state and federal government, due to the ineffective use of tax money and deadweight loss that is caused by fraud. And so now we're saving that money, and we can kind of reallocate that money into other programs that could also help benefit our community. So in terms of just like other tidbits of information that I thought was really interesting to share, the first thing is that because now that the Attorney General's office is allowed to take on more cases and issue more subpoenas more quickly, this can also increase the investigative workload of the office, which means that the office may have to require additional resources to continue to ensure its effectiveness. The second thing I found really interesting was that this bill was unanimously passed in both the House and the Senate, meaning that this is a bipartisan bill. It is recognized by both the Republicans and the Democrats that this is an issue that needs to be fixed, and that this is a bill that has everyone's full backing and support. So with that, that is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for listening. Do you have any questions for us?
Thank you, Maria. I want to really appreciate you take over when your teammate is not here, and that's really team spirit and the leadership as well. So thank you very much. And I will have one question for one bill and one feedback, right? Think about it, sometimes bill can be very simple, right? The first bill talk about gender neutral terminology, right? That's the reason we call it Madam Chair, Mr. Chair. We don't call chairman anymore, right? Chair, vice chair. So you can see just a very simple change, really try to be more inclusive in our society. That's how we advance the community together, right? So one question for Hannah, right? It's kind of feedback as well. Think about it. Actually, last week, our AVI delegation, we had our message group. We talk about provide more language for MVA, right? Delegate Chang know that. We said, okay, what can we do to be really for our state service to be more inclusive, like a translation of the document to their native language, definitely be really helpful, right? So you can see all the bills had a purpose, really serve the Marylanders, make sure we're a state to be very inclusive, or especially supporting those people who really need that help. And if their language is not good in English, we definitely want to provide that service which can help them to understand what happened. Dr. Chang, do you have any feedback or questions?
Thank you very much, Delegate Wu. Thanks to all the students for the presentation. Very good presentation, and also practically speaking, it's really going to be, I think, positive to see the implementation of it from the gender neutral to Ms. Hannah Park's presentation, specifically dealing with the different language services. I just want to say, great job. Thanks.
Okay, if we don't have other questions, thank you very much for this group. This concluded your presentation. Let's move to the next group. Benjamin Shen, Daniel Hong, Irene Park, Veronica Park.
Hi, so I'll be sharing my screen. So before I start, Veronica and Daniel Hong both can't be here today, so Benjamin and I will be reading their slides. Okay, so our group topic was legislation in crimes, corrections, and public safety. And so we researched bills and passed bills that regarded this topic, and each group member contributed to this report by picking a bill that they found interesting and researched it.
Okay, so this is House Bill 1063, which is the one I did. It simply expands the meaning of the term underlying crime, which is used numerous times in Title 9, Subtitle 8 of the criminal law article, which contains several prohibitions on engaging in activities that are part of criminal organizations. So House Bill 1063 explains that the underlying crime for the purposes of establishing a pattern of criminal activity is applicable to the related criminal prohibitions, such as the use of a firearm in the commission of a crime, bribery under Title 9, Subtitle 2 of the criminal law article, false statements under Title 9, Subtitle 5 of the criminal law article, impersonating a police officer, threat of a mass violence, removal or falsification of a vehicle identification number, and abuse or neglect of a vulnerable adult. House Bill 814 was done by Daniel Hong. So it says it recently passed House Bill 814 lists further requirements for juvenile courts and law enforcement removed. So here's the overview for it. It expands juvenile court jurisdiction to include children of at least 10 years of age who committed a crime involving weapons, firearms, animals, and third-degree sexual offenses. The Department of Juvenile Services officers may make an inquiry in 15 days, reduced from the original 25. It allows courts to order detention before a hearing if the crime would have resulted in 2 years of imprisonment if committed by an adult. Children under the age of 18 accused of first-time violation are prohibited from being entered into detention, and it increases time limits on juvenile probation.
So my bill was Senate Bill 950, and this bill basically does three important things. First, it allows for hospitals that do not have the facilities or staff to perform forensic examinations to receive guidance by a professional forensic health examiner during a sexual assault forensic examination. And then secondly, it guarantees survivors don't have to pay for their sexual assault forensic exam and receive reimbursement. And then lastly, it calls for a feasibility study so that hopefully the use of telehealth forensic exams can expand in the future. And in summary, this bill broadens access for sexual assault survivors to get the help that they need to find evidence to be used in court. And this bill was passed. Passed in both houses and signed by the governor on March 15th. 2024. And to be a little more specific, telehealth in this bill is defined as any use of interactive audio, video, or other telecommunications or electronic technology by a forensic nurse examiner. And that was taken directly off of the Maryland General Assembly bill website. And some benefits of this bill are that first, the forensic examinations help corroborate survivor cases and collect evidence while maintaining the chain of custody that's enforced by courts, and expanding the accessibility for forensic examinations in Maryland will greatly increase the success rate of sexual assault cases in Maryland. It also ensures that every hospital in Maryland can perform sexual assault forensic examinations so that hospitals don't have to turn down survivors and send them to different hospitals that could be miles and miles away. And also, it is a solution to the shortage of forensic nurses in the state of Maryland. And lastly, it allows for anyone to receive an examination regardless of economic status. So Veronica's bill was Senate Bill 1056, and this bill adds restrictions to vendors who sell electronic cigarettes, vapes, and other tobacco-related material. It prohibits tobacco products from being in public display and requires them to be behind counters. And the consumer has to be over the age of 21 and has to check their identity with the vendor through government ID. And the Maryland Department of Health is required to check each licensed retailer at least once a year without the vendor's notice. Vendors selling the vapes are required to only sell the tobacco-related material. And if the vendor sold tobacco to underage minors, the penalty could result in the vendor's license to sell cigarettes to get taken away. And the benefits of this bill are that it ensures that underage students aren't easily able to get access to tobacco. Vendors get more of a restriction to their business to ensure that they aren't abusing their power to sell drugs. The bill adds more penalties to the vendor and the buyer. Legal cigarettes become more hard to obtain, which can improve the health and mental well-being to many people, and the distribution of such drugs is more monitored. And that's it.
Thank you, Erin and Benjamin. So for this group, I have some different questions, right? And for Erin and Benjamin, what's the reason you're choosing this bill for analysis? What did you learn?
I actually chose this bill because out of all of the different bills that were in it, it like stuck out to me the most, and I would say that I related to it the most because I definitely heard personal stories from other people regarding sexual assault, and I think it's really important that people have more access and more help when they're in a situation like this because it can be really damaging to people's mental health. I think that this bill was like the most important to me. That's why I chose it.
Thank you. Benjamin, what's the reason you chose this bill? You're mute if you're speaking. So if you are presenting, keep your camera on, right? So that will be helpful. You don't need to really turn off your camera. So, Delegate Tang, do you have questions?
Yeah, thank you very much, Delegate Wu, and thank you to the entire team for their presentation. Related to what Delegate Wu mentioned, Miss Irene Park, thank you so much for your leadership on specifically presenting the bill and also about sharing about you knowing victims of sexual assault. And it's actually really sad statistic in our society. On this call right now, there's 1 in 4 people who know someone who has experienced sexual assault. And so it's really important for victims to be able to know where to go if a traumatic experience happens like this, and then also for us as a community and professionals to be able to support those victims, and for those victims also be able to have access to those services during their time of trauma and be able to do it in a dignified way of receiving the appropriate care. Ms. Park, I guess the question I have for you is that what else from your experience of being there for others who have experienced this trauma, how else may we as a state help those victims of sexual assault?
I think so far, like, I'm not really sure about this stuff from the state. From what I heard from my experience, it's in colleges, and I think they're already doing a really good job because the people that I have heard stories from said that they have free access to attorneys and they have a lot of support already. But I think that it that everything that they're doing right now is already a really good job. But I'm not too sure about other laws in Maryland regarding sexual assault help, but I think they're doing a pretty good job right now.
If I may, Delegate Wu, follow up with some questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Park, it's my understanding that you are a rising junior and that you are a resident of Howard County.
Yeah.
Which is one of the most affluent counties in the entire state in our country. And for a junior who comes from a very affluent part of the country, and you're hearing about victims of sexual assault, I think it's important for all of us to be aware and also reminded that this affects all cultures, this affects all communities, all socioeconomic statuses. And I know it's a little bit of heavy content, but I really do appreciate Ms. Park addressing it because I think that, you know, there are different cultures that, you know, whether mainstream or other cultures that don't talk about it. And I think it's very important for us to be able to have this conversation, and that, I hate to say it, but it's not about if, but when. When we are there for those who are victims of this, that we help them in providing compassion, provide dignity, and then also about the resources that are out there at the hospitals and the emergency rooms, that there are professionals out there who can help them during the severe trauma. And that, you know, many of us on this call, you know, after we finish high school or had finished high school, we went off to college, and this is a serious issue that's affecting all our college campuses, and not just the college campuses, but even the communities right now. I mean, like I said, 1 in 4 women are affected by this. And on this call right now, you know, and you know that it's really important for all of us to be able to be there for those victims, but also to be proactive and taking a stand and doing what we can to address this in our community. So I really do appreciate Ms. Park for really presenting a very difficult subject, but a subject that needs to be talked about. So thank you very much. Thank you, Delegate Wu.
Thank you, Delegate Chang. I really have the same feeling. And reading the budget book, the crime segment usually is the most difficult to really face. There's so many delicate issues there. And I really appreciate your group put your effort there and look them around. Thank you very much. So do you have other questions? Otherwise, we conclude the presentation for this group. Thank you, Aaron Park and Benjamin Shin. Let's go to the next group.
Thank you.
I see Katie is here, right, Katie? Okay.
Yes.
And is Chloe Hong and Danielo Moban, both of them here, I think?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, please go ahead. We'll go back to the first group when we're done.
Excuse me. Do you know how to share the screen on?
At the end of the, like, if you do Zoom, right, there are a lot of buttons. One called share. You click share, then it pop up. Then you just share the screen.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. So I'm on my iPad, so I
Mm.
cannot see any buttons saying like share your screen.
I never tried on iPad. I don't have iPad, so I don't know. Anybody else know?
Oh,
Or anybody else can present in your group?
Danny, can you try? Or Chloe?
I'm on my phone right now, but
Okay.
How
I
about
could
Chloe?
Delicate I could send you our slideshow
Okay,
presentation
send to
if
me. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Send it to Chao 2016. Don't send it to my delegate email because I don't read that very often.
Sorry, which email did you want me to send it to?
Let me put it in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, just so I put in chat CHAOW 2016@gmail.com.
Okay, it's been sent.
Okay, just one moment. Okay, I got a copy. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, and sorry for the inconvenience. So we'll start our presentation with introducing ourselves. So hi, I'm Katie Lee. I am a rising senior at Rivera High School. And as a person who's interested in education, especially about college student aid, as I am preparing to apply for colleges, I researched about Senate Bill 967, part-time sanitarial and delegate scholarships.
Hi, I'm Daniela. I'm a rising junior at Our Lady of Good Counsel High School, and my topic was the Freedom to Read Act. I chose this because my interest in diversity and inclusion, especially in media.
Hi, I'm Chloe. I'm a rising sophomore at River Hill High School, and I learned more about different opportunities for career-focused students due to my passion for education and diverse opportunities for all students.
Okay, so this is our table of contents.
So we're going to start off with my bill, the Freedom to Read Act. And did you know that more than 148 book titles are banned or challenged in the state of Maryland? Many of these books representing Black, Indigenous, and LGBTQ plus culture. The Freedom to Read Act, or Senate Bill 738, is an act passed to combat biased exclusion in library and school library systems. These places will receive state funding in order to expand their catalogs and are able to include previously challenged or banned books. Many of these excluded books consisted of themes including Black, Indigenous, and LGBTQ culture. Some of these books are only excluded because they seem inappropriate for children while only trying to spread a message. Some of these books include The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas and The Color Purple by Alice Walker. This bill also protects the jobs of library staff and ensure that they are not dismissed for performing their normal job duties. The state government of Maryland is clearly concerned about the future and the next generation and want to ensure that culture can be shared without bias censorship.
This is
Chloe.
the More Opportunities for Career-Focused Students Act, also known as Senate Bill 33. Senate Bill 33 is known as, it was introduced in the Maryland General Assembly to address the evolving needs of students seeking career-oriented education paths. The bill acknowledges that not all students pursue traditional academic routes and that many are interested in vocational training and career-focused education that leads directly to employment opportunities. Recognizing the growing demand for skilled workers in various industries, Senate Bill 33 aims to provide more support and resources for students pursuing education and vocational training. I chose to focus on Senate Bill 33 because of its significance in Maryland's education and workforce development. As someone passionate about education and the importance of providing diverse opportunities for all students, this bill stands out as a critical step towards ensuring students have access to the resources and training they need to succeed. Career-focused education is particularly relevant in today's economy, where there is a growing recognition of the value of technical skills. Senate Bill 33 will also have a transformative impact on Maryland's educational landscape by implementing several new things. Senate Bill 33 mandates the expansion of CTA programs across Maryland. It requires the Maryland State Department of Education to collaborate with local school systems to implement programs that align with future workforce demands. The bill also introduces funding mechanisms to support these initiatives, including school grants. Additionally, it encourages partnerships between schools and industry leaders to provide students with hands-on experience through various apprenticeships and internships.
Finally, our last bill is Senate Bill 967, known for allowing part-time students to apply for senatorial and delegate scholarships in Maryland. I believe this bill can be considered as one of the great bills for students because it helps make higher education more accessible, especially for part-time students who are balancing school with work or family responsibilities. So according to the College of Southern Maryland, could you go back to the previous? Thank you. About 65% of community college students in Maryland are enrolled as part-time students. This number is over half of the total number of students attending Maryland community colleges. Many students cannot commit to full-time studies for various reasons, such as life circumstances, family obligations, or work. So Senate Bill 967 was introduced to fill this gap by providing financial assistance to part-time students, ensuring they have the support needed to pursue their educational goals without falling into overwhelming debt. This bill has been reducing educational inequalities and promoting a more diverse student body through a more inclusive approach to state-funded scholarships. To apply, could you move to the next slide? Thank you.
Next one.
Thank you. So to apply for these scholarships, students must be Maryland residents attending a 2-year or 4-year college, university, or private career school as a full-time or part-time student. They need to fill out the FAFSA or the Maryland Higher Education Commission 1 Act if they are not eligible for federal aid. However, students must contact their delegate or senator for detailed instructions. But just in case, Delegate Wu is responsible for District 9A and Delegate Chang is responsible for District 32. So in conclusion, Maryland is committed to supporting the next generation through initiatives like the Freedom to Read Act, the More Opportunities for Career-Focused Students Act, and the part-time senatorial and delegate scholarships. Our group was able to learn the state's dedication to creating a diverse, inclusive, and opportunity-rich environment for all students, and we hope Maryland can continue leading the way in creating a more fair and accessible educational system for everyone. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Thank you, Katie and Chloe and Daniel. So great presentation. I really appreciate it. And each one had a different angle to look at the code this one. So stop sharing. Let me do that. Okay. So especially for Katie, you come with the topic, right? So a lot of people think about scholarships, and they didn't know whether they'll qualify. But at the same time, because of the expansion to cover part-time community college students, I think this definitely will help a lot of students, and really appreciate that. So one question for I think for Daniela, right? So like when you research the bill, like they provide a list of books. Have you read any one of those books?
I don't think I've seen it in my local libraries yet. But I know that The Color Purple is like an older novel because it's an older and like people have made plays and even movies about it now. And especially The Hate You Give is also a movie available since the book was censored.
I see. I was a co-sponsor of the bill, so I'm glad the bill passed. I think book ban is something really backward and it's kind of really anti-society right now. It's unfortunately happening. So then for the apprenticeship bill, actually I'm a primary sponsor on the House side bill. So there's a different kind of versions and then eventually we pass the bill. I'm really glad the bill passed. I feel apprenticeship is so important right now. I strongly believe not every student need to go to college, right? It's really your skill set, your ambition, which like kind of help you decide what's your career path. So great job, everyone. And Delegate Chang, do you have any questions?
Thank you very much, Delegate Wu. I first want to say thank you to all three presenters, and Danny, thank you so much for your heart and sensitivity to diversity, equity, inclusion in our communities and state. I do have a question for Miss Chloe, and with really sincere appreciation, appreciate the presentation on the career technology education. And I wondered from your observations if you've seen that in the Asian American community that there is an option or an open mindedness towards going into the career technology compared to, let's say, going into university and colleges after graduation from high school.
Wait, could you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. So your presentation, you talked about the career tech education and that there's investments there to be made. And I wondered from your observations if you've seen that Asian American students are pursuing those areas of career tech compared to colleges and university track. Just from your observations, it's just whatever your thoughts are on that. And I'll tell you what, I'll answer. These are my thoughts. As a student who was in high school during the late 80s or early 90s, there were 4 things that you could be as an Asian American kid. You could be either a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be an engineer, or you could be a failure. And I think that there was those stresses that were placed on students. I think that we've migrated around that, beyond that, and that students, they don't have to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. It's okay to be something else in life. And I'm wondering, with your generation, are we seeing that, or do we still have that model of there's 4 things you can be in life?
I think that depends. I know a lot of like certain like Asian American families like have like very strong beliefs towards like their child has to be like this or that, like a doctor. But I know that or I've noticed that a lot of Asian American families have started to like, I guess, like be more supportive and like kind of like expand like their beliefs, like expand like their what they like their beliefs are like just changing in general, and like they're starting to like kind of open up to what their child wants instead of just what they want for their child. So
Thank you. Katie, would you say that's a similar observation that you have?
Yes, and also as a writing senior, I am try to apply for colleges, and my like you said like most Asian Americans wants to become a doctor or lawyer or something in STEM, but I am trying to major in education, and my family is really supportive. So I think like the trend is kind of changing these days.
Awesome, awesome, Katie. And Danielle, I think I know your answer because you're always ahead of our time.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Do we
You
have
good,
other
Danny?
questions? We'll go back to the first group.
Actually, one last question. Who did the presentation on the senatorial and delegate scholarship? Miss Katie?
Yes.
That was a really good looking picture of Delegate Wu, but where did you get that old picture?
I just searched on Google.
Yeah, I don't know about it. I don't know. We might have to, I don't know about the point system on that one, Delegate Wu. I mean, they got a really good looking picture of you, and they got like a picture of me from like the 1980s.
No, you look really good too.
Anyways, no, great job. Great job. Great
Thank
job.
you.
everyone.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Okay. So, okay, great. Thank you. So let's go back to the great presentation, really great engaged conversation. So really appreciate that. So let's go to the first group, and I see some students from that group come here. Let's meet Benjamin, are you here? Let's see. So any other group from other student from that group, can you come out if you have a slide or you want to Dan Yu, SM Cho, Erin Park, Benjamin Lee. If any of you from that group you want to share, you want to present, that'd be great.
We're group one. We did state budget. Benjamin Lee couldn't come today, but
Okay.
the rest of us are here. So we can start with the first slide. Okay, so I focused on the Education Funding Reform Act. And basically, the goal of this act is to allocate state funds to public K through 12 schools. It proposes a new funding method that is adaptable based on changes in student populations, economic conditions, and needs of different student groups. For example, low-income families and students who require special education requirements. The bill seeks to distribute state funds more fairly, especially in historically underfunded districts. Okay, so some of the fiscal details for the bill. The implementation of the bill would increase state education spending by about $350 million annually, and funds would primarily go to more low-income districts. And the state plans to cover costs by using general revenue and slightly raising income taxes on higher earners. And some other details, the bill could help underfunded districts better support teachers, reduce class sizes, and upgrade essential facilities. And wealthier districts may receive less state aid, but overall effects of the bill should improve Maryland's educational system.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Yu, and I'm focused on the
Hey, can you speak a little louder?
Okay. I focused on the Maryland Road Worker Protection Act, also known as House Bill 513. This bill, so recently there has been an increasing number of work zone accidents, such as, so since 2010, work zone deaths have increased by 52%. And also, the speeding fines are too low to deter people from speeding, and that causes a lot of crashes. One of the most major recent work zone crashes occurred in the Baltimore Beltway, where a speeding driver lost control of their car and crashed into a work zone, killing 6 highway workers. So after learning about everything, I gained a new perspective on speeding and work zones, and I was able to read the bill again with a better understanding behind the reasoning for it. Okay. So House Bill 513 will change Maryland's work zone speed control systems programs by allowing higher fines for speeding in work zones. It introduces a tiered system, which means that lower speeding violations will receive lower fines and higher ones will receive higher ones. For example, for violations over 40 miles per hour, it may receive fines of at least $500. And these fines will all be doubled when workers are present. House Bill 513 also introduced several clarifications on previous bills, such as multiple cameras being able to be used in one work zone. So all the revenue generated from the fines will be used to fund the new system's implementation and administration. And 75% of the remaining revenue will be given to the Transportation Trust Fund to maintain highways and increase work zone safety. And the last 25% will be given to the Department of State Police to balance vehicle and equipment costs.
So I did SAC recommendations, which is basically the Spending Affordability Committee. So basically they recommend the background is they provided guidance on balancing Maryland's budget while addressing significant fiscal challenges, including a projected $1 billion cash shortfall in 2025 and structural gaps expected to grow through 2029. Maryland's fiscal policies from 2023 and beyond focus on mitigating these shortfalls through sustainable spending strategies. The governor's fiscal 2024 budget, totaling to $64.2 billion, prioritized addressing deficiencies while making key investments in education, transportation, and capital projects to support the state's long-term growth and financial stability. Okay, so they recommended that to reduce the fiscal 2025 structural shortfall by at least 33%, bringing the gap down to $508 million, while maintaining a rainy day fund of at least 8.5% of general fund spending. SEC also urged the acceleration of hiring, particularly for vacant state positions, and suggesting modernizing the hiring process by focusing on skill-based hiring and creating apprenticeship pathways. Additionally, SEC recommended ensuring a minimum fiscal 2025 closing balance of $325 million in the Transportational Trust Fund, also TTF, after noting a $4 billion shortfall in the Maryland Department of Transportation 10-year funding plan.
Thank you, three of us. Really choose a very interesting and diverse topics. So I think one example, the last one, talk about SAC, Spending Affordability Committee. So actually each county has a spending affordability committee, right? So if you have some time, you can look at the SAC recommendation for your county as well. If you understand how the county's revenue and spending looks like. Then go back to work zone safety. I think that bill is something new because there's so many incidents happen which cause a lot of personal injury, even death along work zone state highway. That's the reason lawmakers put a lot of emphasis to really correct that, right? And the education fund, that's something always has been top priority for Maryland lawmaker. especially with the Blueprint initiative. We put billion dollar funding to increase funding for our education system, especially try to really help those districts, which is kind of lower income district, try to help them from state, because we know there's so many challenges for them. Even at the same time, for higher income jurisdictions, we have similar funding issue. So I think the state are working really hard to try to figure out how to fund a lot of education initiatives. And I know budget part is a big part in the budget book, right? If you read that, if you wow, that's so many, it's over 100 pages, right? You can see that the biggest section. I really applaud your team. Took the challenge and read them, pick something you're interested in. And great job, thank you. So Derek Chang, do you have any questions?
Thank you very much, Delegate Wu. Thank you so much to each of the presenters for the very qualitative and quantitative report that was provided. It really does provide a snapshot of the state's budget, and specifically with regarding education and transportation. With regards to the first part regarding the funding of education and the different counties within the state of Maryland, 24 different counties, were there any thoughts as far as how to help support those counties where the academic gap is a little bit larger than the other counties that do not have that gap?
I think that maybe focusing on those counties, the more underfunded areas, I think if they could allocate more of the budget towards those areas, then they could be able to gain the same amount of experiences as those districts who are more better off.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Yes, the $63 billion budget, these education really takes a large part of that, and be able to support the different schools operationally, and whether it be curriculum or teacher salaries, and then also as far as building new schools and then doing renovations to schools. And that's always an issue that we have across our state, because students and parents, they really want to be in world-class facilities, and there is a backlog in our education system as far as getting new schools built and also schools renovated. And this is a subject that will continue in your generation. I know that this will be something, as each of you have children and have your own families, that it'll be an important issue that will continue to really be at the forefront of all our minds. If I may go to transportation now, specifically to Ms. Kaylee Yu, thank you very much for your presentation with regards to work zone safety. As you mentioned that on the Baltimore Beltway, we had a tragic loss where there were workers on the road who, they were just going to work. They were just being able to provide for their families, and they were hoping that they would come back home after they finished their shift, but they didn't. Let me ask you this, the work zone safety bill, was there any estimate on how much revenue that those work zone fines would increase by?
Well, in the fiscal notes, it was estimated that maybe around 16 million every year.
Around 16 million? Okay, that's great. And Ms. Yu, I really appreciate the fact that you brought this up, because that's really an important issue in our state with the Transportation Trust Fund. We have education, which is a large chunk, and with transportation, and something that's really affecting the Transportation Trust Fund is that historically, over the past 100 years, over a century, the model to support the roads, the potholes, the new bridges, the sidewalks has been from a portion of the motor fuel tax. When we go to the pump and we fuel up our gas tanks, whatever that amount is, there's a portion of it that's the gas tax. And the gas tax has historically helped support that Transportation Trust Fund. But what has happened is, over the years, that vehicles have become more fuel efficient. You can get more miles from a gallon of gas, or also we have the migration now to electric vehicles, EV vehicles. And when that occurs, then there's less motor fuel tax coming in. And that's less revenues that are coming in to be able to support the repair of the potholes or the repair of the bridges or to add new asphalt to different roads. So that's something that we are really struggling with right now, is that because of the large part of it too, is because of the migration towards the more fuel efficient vehicles and also the EV vehicles, that we're really in a situation now where we've got to figure out how to keep those robust revenues coming in to be able to keep up with all the infrastructure needs that we do have. And also EV vehicles tend to weigh about 30% more than a traditional gas-powered vehicle. So when you have additional weight on that vehicle, that additional weight, when it hits the pavement, is adding more pressure. And that's going to relate to more cracks, more potholes, more stress on the infrastructure and roads. It's something we've got to consider and think about. And part of how we addressed it too, in addition to what Ms. Kaylee mentioned, was that there's the registration fee on the vehicles. So we've increased the registration fee on the vehicles to help support that. But again, there's still a gap. There's a gap there between what the needs are of the roads and the sidewalks and the bridges and what we're actually collecting in revenue. So we've got to continue to try to keep up with that. And that's something that we'll continue to try to work through, with the years down the road. But thank you very much, everyone, for the presentation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. There's a fun fact. I'm in the Ways and Means Committee in charge of getting more money, and Delegate Chang in the Operation Committee in charge in how to spend the money. So this is really related to the budget and budget. It's the first chapter, right? And do we have other questions from everyone else? Ms. Young-Smith, do you have any conclusion remarks?
Oh, no, I'm just wanted to thank you everyone from the beginning to end. This is a great, so I just want to thank, and then also thank the Delegate Chang, Delegate Dr. Chow, and all for your support and all your effort until the end. This is very fruitful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So all the team members, we have not finished reading your report yet. We're going to finish that and give some feedback to you. Eventually, I want you put your report in a professional format, right? We share the template with you, then you put them in template, and eventually we'll put your reports on our website. Then we can read it. I think it's a record for you. You've been working for three weeks and hard 3 weeks. I think this is a milestone for everyone. Really appreciate that. So please share your PowerPoint slides with us as well. I really like you put everything together. Each team have a different style. It's very interesting. And if we don't have other questions, so we'll conclude tonight's session. And hopefully, if any of you want to join us, our intern in the fall, please reach out to us, because we're going to have some interesting sessions as well, but it's not as intense as this one. But we're going to prepare fields for next season. So we definitely want some support and help if you're interested in that.
Dr. Chow, real quick, can you just not drop? Can you stay on with Dr. Chang? Chang, right?
Okay. Everyone else can drop. So Delegate Chang, let's stay.
Yeah, Dr. Chow Wu, actually, before all the interns get off, actually want to make a comment and actually compliment. Thank you so much to Ms. Young-Smith for over a decade having this program for the students. As a participant with those years, seen a lot of students who have been part of this program go off and do very well in multiple different disciplines in business and medicine and education and public service. And they've really done a lot of great work. And because of the investments that were made through the League of Korean Americans of Howard County through the program and Mrs. Young-Smith, that really has paved the way for a future for many young people to do well. So thank you very much, Ms. Smith, for your leadership over the years.
Let's give applause, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Everyone, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all the students can drop.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Young-Smith.
Yeah, this is kind of late, but I do need some advice or help. Um, just need to find out what I need to do in terms of okay, it's in Ellicott City. We're having a lot of issues with the kimchi business restaurant owners. They're having issue with the kimchi, meaning they think that kimchi is uh, treating like a junk food, and Department of Health is having a giving business owners a really hard time because they feel that right after the COVID, kimchi was very popular. We will be able to serve the Korean community. Now they don't want the business owners to make a fermented kimchi. They just want it just fresh, like salad and salads. So this is very stressful for the Korean owners,
So when did
business
that
owners.
begin?
Hmm?
When did that begin from the health department?
But the Department of Health is asking Korean business owners not to make fermented kimchi.
That's
You know the
wrong. Yeah, that's wrong, right? So
that's wrong. So what do I need to do? I'm
let's
basically.
schedule a meeting with them. The interesting part, I help some Chinese restaurants to meet with the Department of Health. So, and they reach out to me, right, about different issues. I help them arrange meetings, have mutual understanding. And so eventually issue get addressed, right? So let's schedule a meeting with them. So with this, I think that with the restaurant owner, see what exactly they're asking. That's very important, right? Because there's a
Right.
food code, but then different food have different way to do the practice, right? I think Asian food is different. Let's say that Asian restaurants operate really different as well, right? And then sometimes the language barrier, which causes issues. I know some restaurant owners, they don't speak English, right? And that causes issue when the health department comes to inspect or do some other stuff.
Well,
And
so the Korean community wanted to have leaders come together, just discuss what are some of the issues. And we ourselves, we're going to have very first meeting. And after that, I was thinking about putting together a meeting with the Korean community, along with the business owners, with the health department of Howard County. And then if we don't resolve from there, then could we take it to county executive?
No, it's not a county executive. This is part of a regulation as well. So, and health department is not a county department. Health department is a state government agency. So they're located, they're located in a county, but they're not a part of county government. That's very important. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that. I didn't know that either, right? So, so what's the status right now? How many restaurants get impacted? And
all the Korean restaurants.
That's huge.
It's huge because some new restaurants who wanted to opening up, they cannot provide the fermented kimchi because if they do, they may not give a license. So they may fail the inspection. So they deliberately out of ways to make a fresh salad type, not real true authentic Korean cultural kimchi. So all of the Korean restaurants are suffer and being
stressed.
stressed.
How about this? Let's have a meeting with the store owner first, restaurant owner first, right? Let's come together, talk about this issue. Then after our meeting, like I would like to join this meeting because I deal with them before, right? So then we decide how to approach the health department. I think a lot of probably restaurant owners, they don't know this kind of stuff either. They don't know health department is not county government. They're paid by the county, but they're not owned by county government. So how about we like arrange a meeting together with really like a restaurant owner or leadership, come together and think about what they want to do, right? And then after we come or something, we go to meet with the health department. How do you feel?
Okay, so you can be involved.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, great. So I have a first meeting with the Korean leaders on Monday. So I'm just going to talk to them.
What time Monday?
On 10, well, I wanted to have our own meeting first before I invite you. So next step would be to bring you in
Sure.
along with the restaurant owners, and then we can talk about the next step.
Okay.
But I'm so glad. So this just came out today, and I just don't know anything about it, and I'm not a business person, so that's what I'm asking. So thank you.
Okay. Sure. And
Yeah. Apparently this has been going on for some time, and
probably
this is
because I know this kind of issue always take a long time, right? And the
Mhm.
first they probably don't pay much attention. They feel kind of they can ignore it, right? No, they couldn't ignore it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And they can close your restaurant, right? So
Mhm.
they have the power to do that. So
Right.
yeah, you meet them first, and then we come together, have a meeting maybe next weekend if you want, right? And then we're going to meet the health department. See.
Okay. Oh, well, if we can change it or we can influence, because I basically there is we need to have them understand the Korean food culture. And then I think also they have the excessive regulations on Korean restaurants because of this kimchi. And then also because of that, Korean restaurant owners are stressed when it's really economically hard times. They have added stress. So yeah, I just put it down like 3 things, but I may add a couple more to make it really
Meet
substantial.
them. Let's first think of what they want to do, right? Then we will come together, find some suggestions, and eventually come out with something. How about that?
Okay, that sounds good.
Sounds good.
How about Delegate Chen? Would you be able to join in?
Yes, are there any documentation on this?
There's no. I'm just trying to put together something because they. I got.
The restaurant owners, did they receive anything in writing from the health department?
Well, that's what we need to investigate. Like Dr. Chow was saying that I need to put together something once we have a meeting. You know, who are the restaurants? What restaurants right now who are opening? Apparently, they had the same issue because they didn't want to fail the inspection, so they made what is it? Yangnyeom kimchi, not a fermented ones, but they passed the inspection. But that is just not right. I mean, you know, that's just the regulation is really bad. But anyway, I have a meeting on Monday, and then I'll gather all those things. Maybe next meeting, Delegate Chang and Chow will all come together.
Yeah, I
See
think
how
it would
we
be helpful to actually have something in writing from the health department of what they're talking about, because this is all, it seems kind of, it's good to have.
Okay, so I guess where would I get that? Would I get that from?
If the restaurant owners have any documentation from the health department on what that position is.
Okay.
Yeah, that way we can go off of that, and because I mean, if it's just verbal, I mean, that's, you know, I think.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, again, they just called me up today, just inviting me over to a meeting, community meeting. So,
Mark, I have a very emergency call, so
I'll talk to you.
Okay,
can I
great.
just drop? Just let me know
sure.
what I can do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dr. Chow.
Yeah, just go ahead and try to get documentation on this too, like if there's actual paperwork from the health department on this.
Actual documentation.
Yeah.
That business owners may have received.
Yeah, I think that would really be helpful. That way we can work off of that documentation to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, so even Ansua, she has the same problem. She cannot make kimchi, fermented kimchi. That doesn't make any sense.
She cannot make kimchi to serve in the restaurant?
Uh-huh. Because I think Sua's restaurant, the kitchen is so small, so maybe there is some restriction on it. But apparently this is all throughout the restaurant. So I don't understand that. But we need to get involved a little bit more. I guess
I
exactly.
think maybe it has something in writing from the health department. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great job.
Oh, thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
See you.